Good morning. This is Kevin Wingard at American Retirement Systems. I want to thank all of you for joining us today for our webinar on mastering the virtual sale. I think our speaker today will give you some good information to help you in your practice and help you make more sales in what's been an extremely challenging marketplace. A couple of comments I'd like to make before we get the actual presentation started is, first of all, as far as virtual sales, I know there's a lot of talk on it. There's a lot of marketing being done by marketing companies as it relates to virtual selling over the internet. And in all honesty, I've talked with a lot of agents and a lot of marketing companies about virtual selling over the internet of our types of products, annuities and life insurance, and I haven't had anybody tell me they're having great success with it. It's an extremely tough thing to do over the internet, and I think it's in some cases being used unfairly to get you folks contracted with a marketing company, and then they don't deliver on some of the promises they made in their particular promotions. There's really two components to mastering the virtual sale. The first one is marketing. We always have to market ourselves, and I think our speaker will talk to that a little bit today, but it's tough getting qualified leads via Facebook or Google or sending out emails. You may get people onto a webinar or people who respond to your promotions, but in a lot of cases, they're not qualified and they're marginally interested in what you're talking about. And once you do your presentation, I'm hearing from folks that they get very few appointments, virtual appointments or in-person appointments from their webinars, which is why what our speaker is going to talk about today is extremely important. Mastering what you say is going to be important if you want to be successful, at least to some extent, with this type of a program. So marketing is important, and then your presentation of the information, and almost nobody is getting to the actual sale.
Kevin's audio cut out. So I believe we are good to go. Kerry Johnson is on the line here, and we will move forward. So Kerry, take it away.
Thank you, Zach. Sorry about Kevin's audio, but we're going to get started, gang. I'm really glad to have you. My new book, Mastering the Virtual Sale, is going to be out March 1st, and I submitted it to the publisher a couple of days ago, and I'm really excited about this. The previous book came out about a year ago, and that was called The Referral Mindset. It talked about some very new effective techniques to getting referrals effectively. But today we're going to talk about the virtual sale, and my slides are, there it is, the virtual sale. My slides just were not advancing. There's a couple of things that are really important when you think about the virtual sale. Number one is, right now, this environment is paralyzing everybody. We can't see people. Maybe we could see people when they want to wear masks. They're late to video appointments. Often video doesn't work. And you saw a really good example of the virtual sale issues when Kevin's audio cut out, which is very, very common with any kind of virtual environment. Number two, as Kevin said, seminars are really not working all that well. You know, I heard before that when we're doing dinner seminars, 25% come only for the meal. We're getting about 50% who are mildly interested. 25% are just really intent on doing something because they're retiring and they want to roll over. And by the time we book appointments, we can go around the table and the appointments tend to stick. That does not happen with a virtual sale. They hide out. They don't participate. They think they're mildly interested. Maybe they go get a cup of coffee. They come back. They're looking at their email. And number three issue with the virtual sale that I've seen in the last year writing this book was that you get stalled a heck of a lot more easily. I'll get back to you. Give me a couple of days. Chase me. Call me 5 times. And I can't remember anything you said. So therefore, boy, I meant to call you, but I really don't want to do it. A quick background. Kevin did not give me any introductions. So I'll actually do my own intro. I actually played pro tennis in the 1970s. I was ranked 95 in the world from 1976 to 1978. until they fixed the ATP computer ranking system where I slipped to 10,033. I'll be telling a lot of tennis stories during this process also. So let's get into this. Here are 3 things you're going to gain from the virtual sale. Number 1, I'm going to show you some very effective techniques on how you can increase your sales by 38% in 30 days by doing what we call the 3-month phone call bridge technique. Number 2, I'm going to show you foolproof ways of getting 2 referrals every single week using the virtual environment. And number 3, we're going to take at least 10 to 15 minutes at the end, and I'm going to stick to 35, 40 minutes as much as I can. So we'll be done at 40 past, hopefully 30 past, on how to close 65% of webinar attendees. You ready for this? Here's the most important part. Without any cancellations. That's really big in a virtual environment. Any cancellations. You know, there's 3 issues with a virtual sale that I talked about, but I want to hit one more time. The virtual sale has a lot less rapport than any other kind of sale. Now think about this. You're there face to face. You're looking at somebody. 82% of communication is nonverbal. I could tell where somebody's happy, sad, whether they're tracking with me, they're disinterested. It's much more difficult on the virtual sale, a lot more difficult to get rapport. We know that trust is why people buy from you. We also know that rapport is the quickest way to get trust. And with a virtual sale, it's really hard to get rapport or trust. Number 2, you book for your appointments on the virtual sale because there's less rapport and trust. And here's the most important part about the virtual sale, the difficulty. There's a lot less engagement, a lot more distractions. And I said before, they're looking at their telephone, they're checking their text, they're doing email, they're not looking at you. And plus, you know, video cuts out, as you heard before. I'm going to talk about this framing effect in a couple seconds, where you see the ceiling on video, or you see the keyboard. You don't really see their face. Maybe I call this the side shifter, where they look to the side and they're not really looking at you. Can you imagine if you were there face to face with a prospect in their home, for example, and they never looked at you once? The lack of rapport that would be developed if you didn't make eye contact. That's kind of some of the challenges we're having with the virtual sale. So let's jump on this. We know from the University of Connecticut that 83%, 89% of your clients care more about their relationship with you than they do about the market return or the fees. We also know that Forrester research says people buy because of 3 reasons. Number 1, do they really functionally understand what they bought from you? Number 2, do they realize, or do they believe that you're in control? You're watching out for them every single day. The market drops by 35% in March of 2020. They're thinking about you. The market drops by 45% in 2009. They're thinking about you. That client has got to know that you have that kind of prescience in working with them. And number 3, here's the most important part. They want frequency of contact. They want to hear from you. And that's on a frequent basis. I had a client tell me a couple of days ago that I just started working with him on a coaching relationship. And he said he started making these 3-month phone calls. And within the first 5 clients he called, one of them said, "I'm so glad you called, because I've got a life insurance agent talking about buying permanent insurance. I just want to know if you do that too." And my client said, "Of course I do. Why would you say that?" "Well, I have an annuity. I didn't know you did that." So that's why we have to keep in contact, among many other reasons, at least on a 3-month basis. So here's our model. Here's what we're going to do. It's called Catchup Update 5-Step Bridge Referral. We're going to catch up on the family. Anything that happens since the last phone call. "Hey, Kerry, I heard you had a new grandson. Congratulations. Last time we talked, your daughter was about 6 months pregnant. How's the baby doing?" "Oh, Lincoln is wonderful. He's 3 months now. I'm so glad you asked." That's the kind of stuff that really builds rapport and trust. You've got to keep a really good CRM to be able to track the conversations you have. Number 2 is update. Can you imagine what would happen if you kept in contact with your clients every 3 months and do what almost everybody does in this business? "Hey, how you doing?" And they change? Good. Okay, talk to you, 3 months from now. They would never pick up the telephone. We've got to be able to update them on something that they're going to really be interested in. And that's what the market has done, what the market may do. What the economy has done, what the economy may do. Let's talk about Robinhood. Let's talk about the new short selling thing. The hedge funds are getting squeezed. Let's talk about the market having a really big week last week. Let's talk about the $26 trillion in debt. Let's talk about something that's really interesting to these people that they probably have not paid much attention to because they watch CNBC, which terrifies the blank out of them because they're trying to get these guys to listen to the next commercial break. Let's put everything in context so people depend on you as being the person who's really prescient that knows what's going on. And the next part then is bridge. I'm going to talk about in just a second, but referrals. Referrals are 35% more likely to do business with you. They're going to give you 25% more money. They're a lot of fun. There's never any rejection. And why the heck are you not getting referrals? When I have a coaching evaluation sheets, I always ask, how often do you ask for and get referrals? The average is about maybe one a month. And usually someone calls and says, I've got this friend. There's two kinds of referrals. One is called an advocacy referral. The other is proactive. A proactive referral is when you ask for a name and you get one. That has a 38% chance of somebody booking an appointment with you. An advocacy referral is when they call you out of the blue. And that has an 85% chance of booking business with you. Difference between the two, frequency of contact. The more often you let people know that you're looking for referrals, the more advocacy you build. And it's all dependent on frequency of relationship. And that's dependent on the 3-month phone call. So here's typically what you say. I'm going to be really tough on you because I see this all the time. I'm kind of going really fast through this. Hey, don't keep me a secret. I get paid in 2 ways. They don't work. That's why you stopped. Nobody gave you referrals. They don't work. Here's what I want you to start saying. Number 1, I really enjoy working with you. Number 2, give them a reason to help their friends. 83% of your friends and family are going to run out of money and be totally dependent on Social Security sometime during the retirement. Number 3, be very direct. Do you know anybody? Who do you know who could benefit from some of the things we've done together? Don't let the client think, who walked up to me in the last couple of days and asked me for the name of a good financial advisor, because they will not know anybody anytime. Who could benefit from some of the things we've done together? Do you have any prospects? This is not just for clients. Prospects are the same way. Catchup, since you last spoke, update on the economy, what the market has done, what the market may do. And the difference here is reconnect them to the past needs. Last time we talked, Mr. Prospect, you said there were 3 concerns for you. Number 1 is running out of money. Number 2, volatility. Number 3, taxes. What have you done since we last spoke to find solutions to these concerns? What have you done? I promise you, they will have done nothing. If you do that, you're going to reconnect, and maybe you're going to be able to build an appointment again, but that's really critical you do that. Okay, bridging is what we do on this 3-month phone call. Bridging is how to sell without selling, close without closing. Bridging actually has a couple of parts. Number 1, make an introductory statement. How do you feel? You just did the economic update. How do you feel about all this stuff that's happening right now? Now, let me back up a little bit. If you do this technique, gang, religiously, your business will build. It'll increase by 38% in 30 days. So pay really close attention here. I do this every day. It works for everybody. Number 2, search for 3 needs. We know from research, U.S. Trust research, that getting 1 need has a 36% chance of booking a sale. 2 needs 56. And if you can listen for 3 needs, it goes all the way up to 93% chance of booking a sale. Why 3? How come 3? Why is it 3? I'm going to prove to you why it's 3, because people can only retain 3 plus or minus 2 things. And let's test this out. Okay, Zach, let's grab an attendee. We're going to we're going to get attendance here, and the reason we're doing this is because we're going to work this into how we do webinars in about 10 minutes from now. So let's grab an attendee, Zach.
I'm looking here. It looks like most people are unmuted, but I believe some of them are, or most of them are self-muted as well. But Rob Sturgis, are you with us? Do you have audio capabilities there?
Mr. Sturgis, unmute yourself. Hope this works.
Yeah, and some of them may not. What about you, Mel Cook? Are you there?
He's there. He's with us.
I'm here.
Hi, is it Rod?
Yes, it's Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Oh, Rob. Okay, cool.
Nice to meet you, Rob.
Nice to meet you too.
I'm going to give you 10 two-digit numbers, and I want you to try to remember any 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 of these numbers. We're just going to test this concept of why we have to get 3 needs. Okay, so listen carefully. You cannot write these down, Rod. Is it Rod or Rob?
It's actually Rob.
Rob. You can't write these down, Rob. And at the very end, I'm going to have you recite with me back from 100, 199, 98 till we get 95. Okay, so here it is. Here are the numbers. Don't write them down, please. 22, 67, 83, 52, 74, 35, 26, 91, 43, 61. Okay, out loud with me from 100, Rob. Rob, 100, 99. Come on, Rob.
99.
Okay, 98,
98.
97,
97.
96,
96.
95.
95.
Okay, give me any numbers you can remember, Rob.
Let's see. 67.
Okay.
74.
Okay.
Let's see. The last one I think was 61.
Do you remember any more?
22.
Any more? As many as you can remember.
I'm in trouble.
Well, this is not an IQ test. It's really a paying attention kind of a test. But you got 4. Rob, you got 22, 67. Look at that, 74, and you got 61. So that's still within that 3 plus or minus 2, Rob. Pretty good.
Cool. Well,
now one more thing. You can put yourself back on mute, Rob. Thanks for helping me. But gang, one more thing. Did you notice that he got the first couple, 22, 67, and he got the last one, 61? That's called the primacy recency effect. What that means is people can remember what you say in the beginning and the end, but heck, not very much in the middle. We're going to talk about that in a couple seconds too. So search for 3 needs. We recap those by saying, if I heard you correctly, you said there are 3 concerns. Number 1 is running out of money. Number 2 is market volatility right now. And number 3 is taxes. Did I get all that right? This is what I call the psychotherapeutic model of building your practice, building your business. It's really important that you do this because U.S. Trust also discovered that only 4% of the population bought because they understood. 86% of the population bought because they felt understood. There's a big difference there. Making people feel like you understand them is why people buy from you. Explaining things and making people understand is not the way to sell people because they don't remember anything you say anyway, which I'm going to prove to you in a couple seconds. It's always about making people feel understood. The next part is trial closing. If we could take a look at running out of money, volatility, taxes next week, would that be helpful for you? No, don't forget, this is still on that 3-month phone call. And the last part then is book an appointment. And if you do this the right way, your business will jump 38% in 30 days. Okay, one last thing before I leave this and we go to webinars. The really best way of getting referrals is just to listen for referrals. People always name drop. My clients never ask for referrals. They listen for people to name drop their friends, their neighbors, their colleagues. I've got this buddy I play tennis with, and he just said he thinks the market's going to drop like a rock. Oh, really? Who's that? Oh, that's Rob Sturgis. Really? Great. About 10 minutes on the cover. You know, I'd love to make contact with Rob. Would you mind if I called him? No, that's fine. He's a good guy. You know, he's a really good golfer. Great. Do you have any contact information for him? Telephone number? When you really get elegant, that's how you get referrals, because people always name drop. They always name drop. Okay, let's get a little bit deeper into this thing. Forgot to say this. As you heard before, I play pro tennis. In 1976, I was ranked 95 of the world before I said, and I'm not proud of the shorts. This is the a drug dealer look in the 1970s.
I think you look pretty good there, Kerry.
Yeah, you always say that when I show you this picture. You know?
That's just me.
My claim to fame, though, is I drew Jimmy Connors in 1978, Dallas, Texas, first round match. Connors had one tennis strategy with me. It was called Clean My Clock. He beat me 6-1, 6-0. And I'm exaggerating that by one game. The reason I say this is because Jimmy Connors had the best return to serve in pro tennis. He was the only guy that could return Roscoe Tanner's 138 mile per hour serve, and it winters off the serve. Nobody could do that. Nobody. I walked up to Jimmy and he said, Jimmy, how do you return serve so well? What do you do? Do you step forward? Do you step back? Do you move to the side? Do you take a big swing, a compact swing? What do you do? Tell me your swing thoughts. He said, Kerry, I just made $45,000 off of you in 22 minutes. He said, I guess you deserve an answer. Nice guy, right? He said, I listen to the way the ball sounds as it comes off the server's racket. I can hear a topspin, flat serve. I can hear where the ball is going to go. I anticipate stroke, game, set, match, Connors. He listens. We need to listen for referrals. And you will get 5 referrals every week based on that 3-month phone call. And all you have to do is listen for referrals, because people always name drop. I told you before that I thought that Jimmy Connors was one of the biggest brats of tennis. I thought that too until I took my then 5-year-old daughter, Stacy, to an exhibition match between Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe. What a mistake that was, huh? This 5-year-old saw McEnroe throw a racket at the umpire during the middle of the match. She said, Dad, I want to become a professional tennis player. I am tired of throwing temper tantrums for free. Quick commercial. If you'd like a copy of my book, Master the Virtual Sale, I would love to give you a free copy, and all you have to do is fill out this coaching evaluation form, and you can get that actually by going to my website, kerryjohnson.com/coaching, or you can call us at 714-368-3650, and Bethany would love to help you fill this out. Take about maybe 90 seconds, and that's it. Okay, webinar. Told you I was going to get into it. You're going to learn right now how to book more appointments at the webinars you ever have in the past by doing a very cool technique called pre-screening. Number 2, we're going to talk about the 3 characteristics of really, really good presenters. And number 3, we're going to talk about how to close 65% of all the attendees without having any cancellations. Let's jump into this too. I'm going really fast today, gang. I'm limited time. Zach, what's the most important thing about a seminar? It's not the topic. Can you tell me? I gave you 3 choices, Zach. Relevant topic, competence of the rep. How well do they know the topic, and can they trust the presenter? What do you think is the most important reason why people book appointments? It's not Social Security, by the way. What do you think it is?
Yeah, I don't think the topic itself is the most important. So I'm going to /1 there. I'm going to go with number 2, the competence of the rep, how they present themselves up front, and the way that they talk.
Okay, let's find out if you're right. Competence of the rep is only 50%. It's the least reason why people book appointments and seminars. Can I trust the presenter is the biggest reason why I book appointments and seminars. And relevant content. Can I use the information in Social Security? Does it make sense? Is there something that I didn't know before? Is there something I'd like to explore more? Is only 35%. The biggest one by far is, can I work with that guy? Is that lady somebody that I can really trust? And how do you get trust with them when you're doing a webinar, seminar? Number 1, great speakers have great content. I remember when I was first speaking back in 1981, This guy walked up to me and said, yeah, that was good, but I heard it before. Really? Did you hear, this thing over there? Yeah, I heard that before. And I thought, oh, man, I got to get my act together, because if these people are going to walk up and think I'm redundant, there's kind of no way that I'm going to be able to book appointments with anybody or any of their speeches for that matter. One guy actually walked up to me in 1982 and said, the only way you could have said less is to speak longer. I think I learned my lesson. Number two, we talked about the primacy and recency effect. Remember we did that with Rob? What people hear in the very beginning, at the very end, is the most important. What they hear in the middle is of very little relevance. It's all about getting rapport so they can trust you to book appointments. Number two, great participation. Here's the biggest deal on the virtual sale. We've got to get participation. Now, this is audio only, gang, but if I was on video, I could see you. And I would unmute, if I was on another platform, I would unmute you, and I probably would see who's there, who's walked away to the bathroom, et cetera, et cetera. So when we're doing video, we've got to get participation. We've got to people to engage. Their job is to sit back and think about 20 different things. Our job is to keep them engaged on the webinar every single moment. And that's one of the biggest problems we have with the virtual sale webinar. Let's grab one more person.
I'm going to go back to my buddy Rob Sturgis, because I like Rob, and he seems to want to play.
I'm here.
Rob, Mel, and Bruce Jones, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Bruce, I want you to pick out a card. Can you see the screen, Bruce?
Yes, I can.
Good. For $5, I bet I can make your card disappear. Got a Venmo account, Rob? Bruce? Venmo?
I do not.
Oh, how'd you get the money to me? I hope I don't win, because this is going to be embarrassing when I try to come to your house and get $5. Okay, pick out a card. Don't tell me what it is. Keep it a secret. Let me know when you got it.
I got it.
Okay. For $5, I'm going to make sure that you're an honest guy. You pay me if I win. For $5, I'm going to make your card disappear. 1, 2, 3. Am I good or what, Bruce? Isn't that cool?
You make me all disappear, so yes, you did.
I'm really good. I'm really good. Okay. Here's the next part. I took one card away. Is your card the one I took away?
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe this worked. That is so cool. This never works.
Unless you were looking at the eyes, looking at the card.
You owe me $5, Bruce.
It sounds like I do.
Yeah. Bruce, do you know what I did really, though? Any guesses?
No, I didn't.
I replaced every card. I did go from 6 to 5, but I replaced every card. There's no way you could have won. Thanks, Bruce, for doing this. But you can go back and mute yourself. Gang, the reason this is so much fun, I like it anyway, is because we get people to participate. If you could see the counter. I mean, I'm looking at the number of attendees. The counter just jumped by a couple. It was really kind of funny. Whenever you get participation, people tend to focus, and they pay a lot more attention. Seminars are really costly. Even with dinner seminars, is $600 per closed appointment. And here's the problem. 25% of the people that go to any seminar you do are not qualified. They shouldn't be there. They're on food stamps. 25% have an advisor. They're just trying to get your take so they can give your great ideas to their advisor. And 50% are interested, but they may call somebody else. We do not want that to happen. So therefore, I want to ask 4 key questions to anybody who signs up for a webinar. Number 1, call them as soon as they sign up, call within 1 day of them signing up for the webinar and ask them, what did you hope to gain from the webinar? You're going to hear them say one of 5 things. I want to avoid running out of money. I want to decrease volatility. I want to decrease taxes, decrease inflation, or I want to have some legacy for my family. This question is critical. Do you have a financial advisor? When is your last time you talked to them? Yeah, I got one. Yep. When's the last time you talked to your advisor? Oh, it's been, I don't know, about a year and a half. That's typical, by the way. That's fair game. if they've talked to their advisor in the last 3 months, they are not going to work with you, because status quo bias is the biggest glue known to mankind. They're going to go right back to the person. Now, we do have techniques of pushing back we're not going to talk about today, but just kind of assume that if they've talked to their advisor in 3 months, they're not going to work with you. Number 3, did you lose money in March of 20? If they lost money, they have equities. If they didn't lose money, they have some kind of fixed investments. To follow it up with a very simple question. Oh, you didn't lose any money. Boy, you pretty sharp. You must be in bonds or CDs or annuities. Any one of those things? Yeah, I've got $1 million in a CD. Oh, God. These are important questions, gang. And one last question. What do you do for a living? You sound very educated. What do you do? Now, normally I'd get participation here. I'm not going to do it today because of time. But if you say that you're a retired IBMer, mid-level manager, I know that you made about $200,000 a year and have about $700,000 or $800,000 in your IRA or 401k. If you're a school teacher in California, I know that you're making about $100,000 a year and you have a retirement program. If you have 3 floral shops, I know that depending on the city you're in, you're making about $150, and you're waiting to sell the floral shops to retire. That's what I know by these kind of questions. And I promise you, not only do you know this, but if you call them ahead of time, you're going to book double the appointments that you normally would have booked, because you have developed rapport, and trust is why people book appointments at webinars. How do you book appointments? We're flying through this, gang. Number 1, as I said before, the attendees aren't engaged enough to book appointments with you. Look at the effort I've taken so far to work with my buddy Bruce and Rob. I would have just sat there as long as it took to get somebody to respond to me. Number 2, the virtual sale is tough. Most of you were waiting a couple of days after the webinar, and you're calling to say, hey, did you like it? Want to book an appointment? At dinner seminars, you're going by people's tables and asking to book appointments. Let me tell you why this is important. We forget 70% of what we hear within 1 day, 90% within 3 days. Now think of that significance. What if you waited 3 days to get a hold of somebody? They can't remember where they were 3 days ago, let alone what you said at the webinar. There's no chance they're going to book an appointment with you. And as I said before, number 3, they can't remember why they booked the appointment in the first place. So, what should you do? I got the answer for you. I'm glad we have time to talk about this. We're going to get them to self-rate why they want to book an appointment. If you wait until the end, you're in great shape. At every webinar from now on, I want you to get people to rate at the very end what their concerns are. There's 5 categories on the screen. 1 is called running out of money during retirement. Number 2 is volatility. Number 3 is taxes. Number 4 is legacy. And number 5 is cost of catastrophic illness. One of my clients actually developed this. I might have changed a little bit, but this is a really good example. They have the evaluation. They have their information up at the top. Do you really care about how well you did? You could take that part out, but this next part is really important. Let me go through a little bit of it to show you the cadence and the rhythm. Some of you on this call right now are a little bit nervous about running out of money. Well, you're right to feel that way too, ladies and gentlemen, because 83% of the population will be on Social Security. There's a really interesting thing called Siegel's paradox. And what that means is if we have an event, which could happen at any time like it did in 2009, where the market goes down by 45, 50%, it will take 100% to get back to even, not 45, 50%, 100%. You'd have to take so much risk. You'd be in options or commodities, which you could lose everything if you tried to get your money back. Wouldn't it be better to avoid that in the first place? If it's concerning for you, mark down a 5. If it's not concerning, mark down a 1, or put 2, 3, 4. Let me do one more. I think you'll get the message here. Volatility is a big deal, but so is taxes. The last 4 years, we've had taxes that have gone down pretty dramatically. But does anybody really think the taxes are going to go down? The best we can hope for is they won't go up by a lot, but they are going to go up. The Green New Deal, infrastructure, We're at $26 trillion in debt, 100% of GDP right now and growing. Does anybody really think the taxes are not going up? Does that bother you? If it does, put down a 5. If it doesn't bother you, put down a 1. Or 2, 3, 4 is good too. Legacy, catastrophic illness, you'll get the message. Okay, now, here's what I want you to do. Here's how you book appointments. I want to know right now, do a hand raise on the go to meeting, whatever you want to do. I want to know right now if you mark down a 3 or higher for any one of those questions. And I would go through and ask, if I was doing an actual webinar, I would go through and say, hey, Bruce, what'd you give yourself, Bruce? I say, hey, Rob, what'd you give yourself? And then I would say, now you're going to get 90% of the room, virtual room, that's going to say, yep, I marked down a 3 on question number 2. Here's where you book appointments. Great. Mark down any one of those boxes down below. Just put a check mark out down on the date and the time you'd like to meet, and put down a 2 on the date and the time that's your second choice. We'll be calling you to confirm this, but I just want to know, what's your favorite. And by the way, if you send this back to us, we're going to put you in a drawing, a raffle for a free dinner for 2 at Fleming's Restaurant. Now, I wish we had more time, gang, but there's a way with a lot of the platforms that I'd like to talk about, no time today, we could do something called polling. So with Zoom, for example, we can actually do a poll. We could put these questions up on a poll, and people will answer it. We could download their answers to a spreadsheet, and then, here's the really fun part, we make appointments stick by actually calling them and reminding them of their choices. So, for example, Mr. Smith, I noticed you marked down a 4 for renting and money. What was your thought there? Well, I'm kind of nervous. My sister-in-law ran out of money, and that really bothers me. You marked down a 5 for volatility. Yeah, boy, I don't want to have, I lost 35% in March. I don't want to go through that again. It's the same 5-step bridge, gang. Recap. So if I heard you correctly, you said running out of money and volatility are really important to you. Did I get that right? Yeah, really important. Trial close. If we could talk about that on our appointment that you marked down for March 9th at 9 a.m., would that be helpful? Yeah, looking forward to it. And that's where we start the appointment. Okay, gang, we're winding up here. I told you I'd be done by 40 after. When we book appointments, we've got to do it by a rating system. And we've got to call them and remind them of what they put down on the rating sheet. And we can actually get them to send the sheets back to us by doing this thing called polling. And if you want to talk a little bit more about this individually with me, we can do that too. And all you have to do to get the free book, Master the Virtual Sale, and I'm going to throw in another book, which is called The Referral Mindset, is to call 714-368-3650, 714-368-3650. I call Bethany. She'll fill out a little 90-second coaching evaluation. Or go to my website, kerryjohnson.com/coaching, kerryjohnson.com/coaching, and then we'll send you those books for free. And here's an example of that little evaluation sheet. Okay, Zach. I think I pushed my time already.
No, you're good. Obviously, it's all great information, and it's proven to work. We've had advisors here that work with American Retirement Systems who has taken what Kerry had just talked about and implemented into their daily lives and in their business. And, the results speak for themselves. We've had guys increase their business by $500,000, and we've had guys increase their business by $2 million.